Even though the category is special effects, the image is still critical. If you have a strong image to start with, the special effects you apply will hopefully just make it stronger. But rarely will a special effect magically turn a bad image into a great one. It can be easy to fall in love with the special effect itself and forget that the goal is to craft an image that moves the viewer. The special effect is just a tool to help meet that goal. The special effect needs to be in service to what you are trying to communicate with the image. In the best images, the special effect complements and works with the overall image or theme. The better images also tended to have really strong, simple graphic design elements and a very strong sense of purpose. As with any image, it helps to ask yourself what it is I'm trying to say and show, and then how can applying a special effect help me say that. I hope that helps. And now for the entry-level photos. The next image, the Great Blue Heron, 9 points, honorable mention by Nok Wong. The lighting is nice and it is a good moment photographically. I'm not sure what the special effect is here though. It mainly just looks out of focus. It almost has a 3D movie look, but without the glasses. It looks like the intent was to have the head sharp and the rest of the image work as a motion blur, but I'm not quite sure it works that well. The next image, a little bit of blush, 9 points, 3rd place by Catherine Moulton. The zoom effect is interesting, but all zoom effects are sort of disorienting, I think, and hard to make work well. The starting image is a bit simple, and the rose is too centered in the frame for me and rather small. The desaturation is well executed, but there is not a lot of visual impact. Next image, the Old Church. 11 points, 2nd place by John Eden. The image is nice and simple, and the effect is complementary in that it emphasizes the textures in the image and the historic subject. There is a bit of a halo where the forest meets the sky that is a bit distracting. Painted Flower, 13 points, and 1st place by Jeffrey Scherembrock. This was a very soft and painterly image. I guess the image has been softened up a bit more from the in-camera image, although it's hard to tell for sure. I like the pastel tones and overall feel. I like how the image fills the entire frame with flowing lines and how the image progresses from complexity to simplicity as you move from left to right. Very pretty. And now for the intermediate level. Next image, Trumpet Player, 9 points. There are some strong shapes in there, but I think you would have to crop into the image carefully and try to boil the image down to more essential shapes. Simpler is better. The next image, 2 clicks, 1 frame, 9 points. Pretty simple. I am guessing this might be a double exposure perhaps. The lighting is pretty basic. It could probably use a bit of backlighting to make the hair stand out better. The next image, Red, White, and Blue, 9 points. This is a solid fireworks shot. The fireworks are nicely done. The foreground is a bit dark and murky though. In this category, it would have been nice to have had some more detail in there. The next image, Hibiscus Swirls, 9 points. The effect is done well, but I'm not sure it works. The swirl effect sort of overwhelms the image, I think, and does not really complement it much. I think the dark triangles in each corner of the image are a bit distracting too. The next image, Buzzed Zimmed Iris, 9 points. I'm not sure what the effect is here. The colors are pretty and the lighting is nice, but the image is sort of hard to follow as there is a little too much going on. I'm not real sure where to look or what to look at. The next image, Autumn in the Woods, 10 points. Nice motion blur. I like the texture in the foreground. The shapes of the trees could be a bit stronger, though I do like the tree bark in the foreground tree. The next image, Cool Whip Moonscape, 10 points. I like the attempt here. It does indeed have a moonscape feel, but as an abstract shape itself, it is not quite as interesting as it could be. I'd like to see it zoomed in a lot more and using stronger and simpler graphic lines. This looks a bit too scientific. Next image, The Wave, 12 points, honorable mention, by Joyce Mangum. Simple and graphic. It has a sort of handcrafted look to it, almost like a dyed linen. I like the simple Polaroid frame here too. It helps to reinforce that handmade, one-of-a-kind feel. Next image, Duck Dreams, 12 points, honorable mention, by Alan Daniel. Very colorful image, sharp, well composed. The abstract reflections are very nice. It looks a bit like a Gustav Klimt painting. Next image, Faces, 13 points, third place, by Michael Lusardo. Very colorful, almost too much for me. The image really grew on me though. I like how the stencil overlay creates depth from left to right, letting the eye move through the frame nicely. Next image, Amaryllis, 15 points, second place, by Karina Johnson. Really beautiful, simple, elegant, and restrained. Everything works, from the color to the soft yet textured background. This looks like it would make a beautiful print too. This would also make a nice print series. Next image, Pigeon Prison, 15 points, first place, by Mark Bernthal. Very cool, I love this. Simple, graphic, sharp, and really delivers the image theme well. The negative space is used very effectively, and the colors complement each other very well. It has a bit of a Charlie Harper feel to it, with a nice sense of style and whimsy. I'd love to see a full series of prints done this way. And now for the advanced level. The next image, In a Modern Museum, 10 points. I like the lines and curves in the right 2/3 of the image, but the left side window doesn't work as well. I would like the image a lot more if it was simplified down to more basic lines and curves by cropping deeper into the interior. I think that it would make the nicely placed man on the stairway a lot more critical. I think it would also work in black and white. The next image, Church, Bodie State Park, 10 points. The charcoal sketch effect works fairly well here and matches the feel of the old wooden church fairly well. There's just too much dead space around it that does not add much in my mind. The next image, Colorful Reflection, 10 points. The effect is done fairly well, but I'm not sure it works as an overall image. Flipping the reflection to the top is a bit distracting for me here. I got a bit disoriented. The next image, Penguin at Argentina, 11 points. This image made me laugh. The effect is well done, and the shadow of the penguin matches the shadow of the flagpole. All that said, I'm not sure that the background image adds much overall. The next image, the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge, 11 points. This was hard for me to judge. The original image itself looks like it was quite nice. The infrared-looking version is interesting, but the colors don't really work for me. Next image, 1932 Chevrolet, 12 points. Nice image, strong and simple. The narrow zone of focus works well at putting the focus on the Chevrolet emblem and the chrome grille. The upper left-hand corner is a bit busy though, and my eye gets a bit lost up there. Next image, Goatman's Bridge in infrared, 12 points. Good, simple image. I like how the infrared pushes the viewer's eyes from the dark into the light at the center of the frame. Lots of nice detail. Very pretty. The next image, In the Spotlight, 12 points, an honorable mention by Walter Brock. This image feels a bit like an illustration. The butterfly has been clipped out well, and the strong shadow and spotlight is nice, though a bit cliched perhaps. The front flowers are a bit cluttered, and that takes away from the clean graphic lines. The next image, Dallas Cityscape, 12 points, third place by Winshi Lee. Interesting image. I like the flow of colors through the image with the winding road and taillight leading to downtown and the colored orbs. It is almost like a view of downtown Dallas through a rainy windshield. The next image, Roses, Repeat. 13 points, second place by Nancy Mack. This image has really grown on me over time. It has nice, clean, simple graphic lines that add up to an effective pattern. It looks a bit like a Navajo rug to me. That simplicity is a virtue. The next image, The Spirit of Christmas. 13 points, and first place by Carol Barlow. Very nice, bright, crisp, clear, and nicely lit. The selective focus really works well, and the bokeh effect really enhances the theme or story of the image. That really gives this image a leg up. There is a little bit of a halo on the far left side of the image that is a bit distracting. A very subtle dark vignette would be good, I think. And now for the master's level. The next image, Water, Ice, and Oil, 10 points. This is another hard image for me to judge, in part because I'm not sure I totally get it. I really like the gritty, monotone feel of the image. It seems like it is trying to show the above-ground pump jacks and the below-ground oil and gas deposit, but I am confused by how the face figures in, and the title doesn't help much. I feel like I am missing something. Next image, Exploding Water Balloon, High Speed, 10 points. Technically it captures the moment well, but it does not work as well. As a story image, the lighting is a bit flat, especially on the hands, and it could be lit from behind a little more aggressively. Plus, as a story image, the all-black background does not work that well. I can't help but think that a more interesting image might be as an abstract of just the exploding water, properly backlit. That part of the image looks much more interesting to me. Next image, Colorful Shelf, 10 points. There's a lot going on here. Some of it works, but a lot is just off. I am not sure the gritty effect really matches the kitchen still life subject matter. As a still life, it is sort of busy, and the halos around the coffee maker and the coffee bag are sort of distracting. I think the image needs a more focused theme, and then the special effect would hopefully flow from that. Next image, Ice Wrap, 10 points. Interesting. I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at. I guess it is some frozen branches above a frozen pond, but I'm not quite sure. It is sort of pretty, though the branches are a bit cluttered. I wish it was a bit more graphic. The first image, Monarch on Marigolds, Orton effect. This image is interesting, but ultimately does not work for me. I am no expert on the use of the Orton effect, but it seems to work well for me to add a sort of a mysterious glow to an image or parts of an image. Like many effects, it is often overused or used inappropriately. Here the orange flowers are supersaturated and rather harshly lit, and the Orton effect just makes them look more strange. The other problem is that the orange of the Monarch blends into the oranges of the marigolds a bit too much. Next image, Running Colors, 12 points. This is a good motion blur and works well. I really like the motion of the feet and shoes in the middle and center of the image. A few things might help make it better. One is absolutely filling the frame with motion. From this vantage, the top of the frame is sort of inert. Getting higher might have allowed the photographer to fill the entire frame with motion. Getting lower might have also allowed the photographer to really fill the frame with the motion of the legs and shoes, which would have been really cool too. Both approaches would have made the images simpler and more coherent, I think. The next image, polar bear hunting at Christmas, 12 points. Interesting. I'm not quite sure what to make of it. Those kinds of images are the hardest for me to judge. Emotionally, I'm not sure how to react, but I like the simplicity and minimalism shown. I like how the chrysanthemums against the white background helps set off the stark white face of the polar bear hunting. Next image, one too many, 12 points. Kind of funny. The image is nice and sharp. The Sky Vodka bottle is a bit too dark though, and creates a dead zone. I am not sure if that was the intent. The other labels stand out so well that the effect in that quarter of the image is sort of jarring. Next image, Space Girl, 12 points. I like the lighting and the glittery glossiness of the image. The graffiti-covered hallway is perfect. It has a nice cyberpunk sci-fi feel. I wish the left foot was not cropped quite so close to the edge of the frame, and the right hand looks a little strange. The next image, Floral Impressions, 12 points. I like the attempt here, and this image has grown on me. The colors are nice and bright. This is a tough image to pull off though. I find that vertical camera blurs of still subjects tend to work better with strong but blocky vertical shapes, like tree trunks or buildings, or with lights that you can stretch. Shapes like flowers are difficult to make work because they either stutter their way through the frame or just become complete abstract lines. This attempt works fairly well at balancing the two. Next image, Distorted Reflection, 13 points, honorable mention by John Lehman. I'm battling with how I feel about this image. It is growing on me, but I'm a bit conflicted. I'm not entirely sure what the story here is. I like the duotone effect. The subtle blue gives a very melancholy tone to the image and a feeling of sadness. It looks like an underwater image to me. But the decision to tilt the image to the side confuses me a bit. Then again, sometimes ambiguity is good when it keeps the viewer's thoughts and attention. The next image, Tree Abstract, 13 points, honorable mention by Charlotte Hasty. This is a pretty good tree zoom abstract. It is hard to make these look good, or at least unique. I think what helps this one is the layers, with the bright foregrounded trees standing out from the dark forest behind. The center of the image is fairly bright and leads the eye there quite nicely. Next image, From the Void, 13 points, third place by Dennis Fritzi. As an abstract, this is pretty neat. I like the use of colors, with the red as an explosive color pushing into the cool blues. You can sort of feel the viscosity here, like oil and water separating into little cells. Next image, Space Cowboy, 14 points, second place by Jose Artiles. Pretty freaky. I like how the pulsing, acid trip creature is anchored nicely by the crisp cowboy hat. Even though the creature is shifting and metamorphosing, the hat and entity as a cowboy stays constant. This is pretty cool. I'd like to see this as a video. Last image, Arbor Vitae, 15 points, first place by Larry Peterborg. I love it. The match between the image and the special effect is perfect. The fine details in the tree are perfectly complemented by the effect. It looks like a character from a Guillermo del Toro movie. The image is nice too. The simple background and foreground work nicely together. It seems like the tree is standing out of some fog or mist, and that adds to the overall feel, I think. The best of show was tough and very close. I really love Arbor Vitae and Pigeon Prison, as well as Amaryllis, At the end, I thought that Pigeon Prison was the image that stuck with me the longest. It is just so clean and strong graphically with a lot of beautiful touches. All really great work. Thank you for the opportunity to judge such an excellent competition.